Well, it's been a cold January winter's week here in the UK, so let's finish off the week this Sunday evening by getting the logs on the fire and having a little chat about what has been a pretty controversial week by my standards in the head coach save, because we've had a situation that has caused a lot of debate in the comments. Don't worry, I haven't done anything awful if you're not up to date, but I am going to give you a quick spoiler before we get into it. Those of you who are up to date will know what we're talking about. I mentioned it on Discord and during the Twitch streams in the week. But for those of you who aren't, if you haven't got to Monday's episode of The Head Coach, which was part 46, I've just double checked that's right. Yes, it is. If you haven't watched up to episode 46 yet, then go away now because you're going to get a lot of spoilers. Watch that and then come back here. But because of the debate and the situation we found ourselves in our career there, something that I've not had before in this head coach career, over 4, 5, 6 different seasons of doing it, I thought we'd have a little one-off episode because since I've made the decision I had there, things have been stewing in my mind. And to be fair, it took me about a day and a half to make the decision. So there was clearly a little bit of pull there. But either way, the best thing you can do out of debate, out of controversy, out of negativity is find a positive. And for me, despite the fact I had a hard decision to make and I'm not sure whether I've made the right one still, we've got a way to turn this into a positive this year. So if you're looking forward to this one, a little relaxed chat by the fire on a Sunday evening, then please do put a thumbs up on it. If I'd been smart enough, I would have thought in advance and got a lovely little fireplace there. Maybe I can put some at the side of the screen. We'll wait and see. But of course, for those of you who are up to date, let's talk about this week in the head coach, because for the first time, and I've been doing this since the end of FM18, for the first time, we've done well enough at the start of a career to get a meteoric rise in reputation within a 5-year period, and also to get more than one job offer at a time. Because on Monday, we were presented with 3 job offers and potentially more on the horizon after that as well. And it led me to a debate and to a bit of a dilemma regarding my own preset rules in this save, because those of you who were there will know there were 2 jobs that I was really excited by, and 2 jobs that in reality I would have loved to have done both and taken both, because they both offered different challenges and something that in the long term I would have found really rewarding on the channel. Of course, those of you who are up to date and have seen the thumbnails and whatever will know that we chose Bournemouth as the most realistic move, because I always promise at the start of a head coach I will take the move that in the real world my manager would take if they were in that situation. And if you're offered 6 grand a week to go to the Netherlands, 5 grand a week to stay in Japan, a job in the Championship on about 10, or a job in the Premier League on 30, you're going to take the job in the Premier League, even if the club is in nearly £100 million of debt and at risk of administration. Because for you, you've got a contract, you're guaranteed, no matter what happens in the end, you're going to get paid a guaranteed however much money. £1.5 million a year as it would be there. Nearly 4 million quid for the 2.5-year deal and the contract. So no person can turn that down because it's a life-changing sum and it sets you for life, even if you never work again after. What we did have, though, was this interesting pull because we'd been offered a really alternate European job by FM24 in the Eredivisie, and it's a job that I would really like to take on. It's a league I can't even remember managing in for God knows how many years, certainly never on camera. So it's one that I really wanted to take as well, but I felt we had to take a realistic move for the head coach for the rules I'd set up at the start of the season, and the start of every save we do with the head coach, in fact. And in addition to that, I really wanted the Willem job and the Bournemouth job, so I was happy to go to either. I then left it to the comments and said, has anyone got a real preference? And ultimately, the disastrous thing happened, which is it was 50-50. Half of you saying, well, you've got to go for Bournemouth, it's the realistic move. And half of you rightly saying, well, Willem too would be a really interesting one from an FM point of view, which I agree with as well. But despite that dilemma and having to make the decision and take the move that I felt stuck to the rules the best that I'd created prior when starting this save, it does leave us with an opportunity moving forward to do something a little bit different, because as you normally know, the head coach is finished by May or June, and spoiler alert, the way the Southend save's going, that one could be finished by the summer as well. Generally when we do the English saves, we have plenty of time near the end of the FM cycle. Now, what I wanted to do this year was maybe try something a little bit new, because we've got a situation where we've got 2 job offers we really wanted, and both could lead to really different career paths and routes to the top. We've had a fun time in Japan. It's been something completely different to what we've done before, and I've loved it, even though we've probably had a rise greater than ever before. And it's given us these opportunities and luxuries that, in hindsight, it's been a bit of a pain to have. But what I wanted to do now as a result of this was turn it into a positive and say, how about we find out well and truly what was the right decision? And it sort of led to a what if idea. And it's something that I might do moving forward. It's something I've thought about before in odd circumstances where we've had a one club story and I've had a really interesting job offer and thought, well, what if in another universe we were doing that? And it's something I may adopt on the channel moving forward a bit more if it's successful this year. But what we're going to do is we're going to finish this head coach universe in the same way that we do normally. We've gone to Bournemouth. We're going to see how our career pans out. When we finish this year's head coach and it reaches its natural conclusion, we are going to start again from the exact same point that we were on Monday afternoon. The only difference is we're going to accept the job at Willem 2. And then we're going to play out the same head coach career with the same rules, barring obviously the which job we take. And we're going to try and plot our route to the top via the Eredivisie and various other jobs and just see where it takes us. Because I want to see what if. Which one was the right decision? Which one gives us the quickest route to the top? Yes, financially, the Bournemouth offer was one too good to turn down. But we often accuse it. We talk about it on the podcast channel with manager specials. Yes, that move set them for life financially, but is it the best one from a football career point of view? And as I'm getting older, I'm worrying a bit less about money and thinking about, well, how about having happiness, having a relaxed lifestyle, a work-life balance and all of that. So maybe we need to reflect that in the head coach as well. And if we do it in the future, we'll change our rules moving forward, as we mentioned in the New Year update. But that is the plan for the rest of this FM, because I know I got criticism from both sides, from considering the Bournemouth job, not taking the Willem job, not taking the Bournemouth job if I'd rejected that. But the simple truth of the matter is, I wanted to do both, but we can only take one in a head coach series. And it's a dilemma I'm sure a lot of managers have had in a real footballing world. As always though, I promise to make the type of videos and the types of series on this channel that I would love to manage in anyway and that I would do off camera. Now the truth is, if this had been 10 years ago and I wasn't doing YouTube or anything like that, I would have saved the game twice, I would have taken over both clubs and I probably would have played both. So do you know what? We're going to do the same here. Of course, I don't want to mess things up and have 3 series on the go at once, so we're not going to do it like that. But when this head coach series reaches its natural conclusion in April, May or whatever, we are going to do the alternate what if head coach, and we are going to take charge from the same point of Willem 2 and see how that works out in the alternate universe. We'll see well and truly by the end of this FM cycle which one was the best decision, which one gives us the best route to the top, and which one gives us the more successful manager and bigger career earnings, because maybe the Bournemouth one didn't lead to greater success in the long term. So I hope you're looking forward to that idea. Let me know if it's something you'd like to see in the future where we do sort of what ifs, which one works out better when we get to a crossroads in a career. Because as I mentioned from FM25, because of my personal circumstances, I'll probably only be doing one save at that point. So it does give us the opportunity to split it into 2 if we do get that situation. But the headline news today is thank you for making it a 50-50 decision. So it was so hard for me and didn't help make my mind up. But we picked Bournemouth in the head coach save following my realism rules. If I was the manager in that situation, what would I do? But afterwards, once we've finished it, we're going to do the alternate route as well and find out whether my first decision was the right one, whether chasing the money or whether chasing expanding your horizons is the right move to take in FM. And maybe we'll find out that both of them would have been good jobs, which based on the offers and the excitement I had at both of them is probably what I'm expecting. So I hope you're looking forward to that later in the year. I think it does add a bit of interest to us for the rest of the season as well, not worrying about shorter term saves at the end of the year, albeit I've got one little fun nostalgic one in mind which you will see towards the end of the season. But for now, that is basically the announcement. You are going to get a head coach and a half story this year, because at this point we are going to go with 2 separate stories, one running now as it would normally, and we're going to take over Willem 2 at the end. Don't worry though, for now nothing changes. We'll be back in the head coach with Bournemouth and of course with Southend over the next couple of days in our one club save there. They'll continue to rotate until they reach a natural end, but once the head coach does, we're going in the what if universe. For now though, if you did enjoy this little Sunday evening chat, Let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. Do chuck a thumbs up on the video and subscribe to stay up to date with everything on the channel. If you've missed any of the playlists so far, the Twitch channel, the football podcast and all of that too, they're up in the eye above. I know I said there'd be a guide out today, but don't worry, I've moved that back to next Sunday at the same time. And I've also got a fun experiment coming up in a few weeks' time relating to injuries as well, which is both hilarious and very interesting. So I hope you're looking forward to all of that. I'm really enthusiastic at the minute, and I guess it's better to have 2 good job offers than none in the head coach. Hopefully both careers will play out brilliantly. We're looking forward to both of them immensely too. And it does end a dilemma for me because I really wanted to take both jobs. So I thought, why change how I would work off camera? Let's have them both. We're going to do them both before the end of the year. I hope you stick around to enjoy them. We'll be back with Bournemouth tomorrow, Southend on Tuesday. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you back here tomorrow as your standard head coach programming returns.